General Wei Zhang stood inside the International Military Conference Room, his hands behind his back, his voice cold and sharp. He looked straight at the Filipino delegation and said, "Filipinos cannot fight. They are small, weak, and too emotional." The room fell silent. Cameras clicked. Journalists gasped. But none reacted more strongly than Captain Elias Ramos, who locked eyes with the general, his jaw tightening as the insult drilled into his pride. Outside the building, reporters swarmed around Elias, asking for a response. Elias did not shout, did not curse, did not show anger. Instead, he calmly said, "We fight with heart, and heart is something he will never understand." His words spread across social media within minutes, turning into a national call for respect and a firestorm that the Chinese general never expected. The next morning, General Wei issued a public statement challenging the Filipino military to a joint combat demonstration, China versus the Philippines, live, real, and unfiltered. "If you believe Filipinos can fight," he said, "prove it." It was not just a challenge, it was humiliation dressed as diplomacy. World media immediately locked on to the story. Elias, still offended but controlled, asked for permission to lead the Filipino side. The defense chief agreed. "Show them who we are," he told Elias. Sergeant Marco Dela Cruz joined him, slopping his shoulder with a grin. "Let's make history," Marco said. But deep inside, even he wondered if this was a trap designed to embarrass them. Elias returned home that night to see his sister, Luna Ramos, waiting by the door with worried eyes. "Kuya, why did you accept the challenge? They're bigger, they're more powerful." Her voice cracked as she imagined her brother facing trained foreign fighters in front of the world. Elias gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Luna, it's not about winning or losing. It's about proving that a Filipino does not bow to insults." Luna wiped her tears, straightened her back, and nodded. "Then fight smart, fight with dignity, and come home alive." Her words became Elias's hidden armor. Unknown to the Filipinos, General Wei had already arranged everything. The terrain, the lighting, even the timing, all were designed to favor the Chinese team. He wanted one thing: global humiliation for the Philippines. "When they fail, the world will see China's dominance," he told his men. But one of Wei's own junior officers leaked the unfair setup to the media, and before long, the world started questioning General Wei's intentions. Still, he did not back down. "Let them complain," he sneered. "They have no chance anyway." His confidence was arrogant and dangerous.
Elias and Marco trained day and night. They lifted, sprinted, and practiced close-quarters combat until their muscles screamed. Elias focused on speed, knowing he could not match China in size. Marco trained for endurance, pushing himself through intense drills that left him barely breathing. During breaks, Elias repeated Luna's words in his head: "Fight with dignity." This reminded him not to fight like a brute, but like a Filipino warrior, clever, patient, precise. By the fifth day, both men felt their bodies transform. They were no longer preparing for a demonstration. They were preparing for war. On the day of the event, thousands packed the arena. Millions watched online. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Flags waved, cameras flashed. The world waited to see if the Chinese general would be proven right or humiliated. General Wei marched in confidently with his elite fighters, all towering and heavy-built. In contrast, Elias and Marco walked out with calm faces, showing no fear despite the size difference. The crowd whispered, analyzing every detail. Many doubted. Some prayed. But the Filipinos stood tall. The first round began with Marco facing a large Chinese fighter who charged like a bull. Marco dodged, slid to the side, and struck the man's ribs with 3 fast blows. The crowd erupted as the Chinese fighter dropped to one knee, shocked by Marco's speed. "What was that?" one commentator shouted. "Filipino footwork." Next, Elias stepped in against Wei's most skilled fighter. The man moved like lightning, throwing punches that blurred in the air. But Elias read his rhythm like music. He blocked, ducked, and countered with sharp, precise strikes. The crowd held its breath. Then Elias delivered a spinning elbow that sent the fighter crashing to the ground. The arena erupted with screams. Humiliated, General Wei stormed to the center of the arena and shouted, "You fight dishonorably. This is not Filipino skill, it is luck." His accusation angered the audience, and commentators quickly defended the Filipinos, replaying the slow-motion footage that proved Elias's technique was clean. Unable to accept defeat, Wei challenged Elias personally. "Fight me," he growled. "Let the world see the truth." Elias stepped forward without fear. "If this is what you want, then I accept," he replied. The entire arena fell into stunned silence as two leaders prepared for a fight that no one expected.
Wei attacked first, throwing heavy punches meant to intimidate. Elias blocked the first, dodged the second, and absorbed the third on his forearm. The impact hurt, but his focus remained razor-sharp. With each movement, Elias used timing instead of strength, technique instead of force. Finally, Wei launched a reckless attack, too proud, too angry. Elias slipped behind him and executed a clean takedown, pinning the general to the ground. The crowd roared. Reporters shouted. Even Wei's own men were stunned. Elias stood over him and said softly, "Filipinos can fight, but we do not need to shout to prove it." When the event ended, the world praised the Filipinos for their discipline, intelligence, and honor. Social media exploded with comments like, "Never underestimate a Filipino," and "Heart over size." Even countries that once doubted the Philippines now applauded their courage. General Wei, embarrassed but wiser, approached Elias the next day. He bowed slightly and said, "I was wrong. Your people are strong." Elias replied, "Strength is not measured by size, but by spirit." Luna hugged her brother tightly that night, tears of pride in her eyes. And from that moment on, the world knew one truth. Filipinos do not fight to show off. They fight to stand for respect.